Fuck it. Just start the show, damn it.
Oh, man. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Throwdown episode 118. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
God damn it.
Yeah, by the way, you know what's funny, Manny? Like, the MP3 guys don't know anything bad happened. So they're like, why is this
Sorry about that, guys.
Emilio Lopez in the house. Say hi for real this time.
Why, hello there.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Brian Munjoma.
Hey, guys. What's good?
Brett Murdock.
We are a pillar of polish on this show and professionalism.
Yes. And Adam Vale.
What up, what up?
So, Manny, my curiosity is peaking right now. So what happened? Like, the soundboard just didn't want to play the shit?
No, because, okay, in order for me to switch the Throwdown logo, I have to first, what I have to first do is actually start the song first. Because once I click the thing to switch the image from the views and opinions thing, it instantly blacks out every screen on my side because it's in full screen mode.
Interesting.
So
is that your cat back there, by the way?
Yeah, that's him.
I see ears.
He's licking his butt right now.
Podcat.
We got a podcat.
Classy.
Yummy.
Yeah, we got a podcat here. All right, so let's get things started. So a couple shout outs. We want to give a big shout out to Shane Lewis from Re-Res. We had him on last week. Really cool episode. Like, we were asking about the Switch, the career, all this shit. I like the fact that this guy is a Nintendo fan that's sane. You know, he knows there's something wrong with the company, you know. Very few sane Nintendo fans. Most of them are apologists, you know. So it was nice to have him on, you know, telling us, you know, what he thinks of the Switch, which kind of aligns with what we think about the Switch. I also want to give a shout out to Darius Slayer. I was on his live stream yesterday. He used to work with Torrance at the Bitbag. I forgot what his name was back in those days, but he's trying to become like a streamer full time, get money off of it. So any way I can help, you know, I'll do that. And the last thing, I want to give a shout out to Carlos, because of him, we now have timestamps on this motherfucker, man. Nice. Good shit. So thank you, Carlos. Now, Carlos, how did you get the whole timestamp thing going? Because Torrance was like amazed. Like, how did you do that? How?
Well, so I'm usually rewatching the video to be on the comment section, and if you put a thumbs up on the video, it shows a timestamp of the video when you're watching it. So I'm watching it live, and then once we do all the questions, I check the time and I write it down. And there's usually a delay because obviously we're not going to, when we're doing it live, the video is not going to play back at the same time. So I just check off the delay and I do an offset off of that.
Yeah, no, and it worked really well. Like, it was just off for like 9 seconds. So I just had to adjust for that. But then once I made that adjustment, it was pretty easy. You know what I mean? But even when it wasn't correct, when I was doing the editing, it would still leave me in the ballpark. So it was easy on my end too. So I just wanted to give you a shout out for that, because of Carlos, y'all got those fucking timestamps you all wanted. You know,
that's one of the things that there's two bucket list things we want to like. Essentially having the logo and the theme song show up on the YouTube, which I fucked up today, and also having timestamps on our YouTube.
Yeah, because we did start a little late, but I did, you know, I'm gonna have like a better video for Manny, because that was easy for him to do last time. You know, just play the video and that was that. You know, so that's good. So let's not waste any time here. We got a lot of shit to talk about tonight. We got to talk about this white paper that was released a couple of days ago to Digital Foundry about the Project Scorpio.
Released at Digital Foundry, more like leaked.
Oh, well, here I'm hearing some interesting things about that. Like, apparently this white paper was available since.
I gotta be white.
I don't know. Let's call it black paper, you know? So this black, I'm fucking stupid now. But apparently this white paper was available right after Microsoft's E3 press conference of last year. But Digital Foundry saying it was leaked to them. So make of that what you will. But in it, there was some interesting shit in there. So apparently because remember, the Xbox fanboys, right, were saying, oh, this console is going to be native 4K on every game, uncompressed, 60 frames a second, all this shit, right? Not so much. It turns out this thing's going to be actually closer to the PS4 Pro. It's going to have this technique called sparse rendering, an ironic term, by the way. But it's the same thing as checkerboard rendering, where they kind of have to fudge it a little bit, you know, to kind of fake 4K. their main games, the first party games, those are going to be in native 4K, but they may not be 60 frames a second. That's something the white paper also said. That you have one or the other, you can't have both. Very interesting there. And they also clarified something that Microsoft already said, but they clarified it again in this paper. No exclusive Scorpio games. That's not going to happen.
Don't believe it.
It's not going to happen, bro. I'm telling you, we're gonna get into that. But
well, it says that Project Scorpio is not provided with ES RAM because they're not wanting Project Scorpio only games. So it sounds like they've hardware locked themselves into fulfilling that promise. Like, I don't know.
I just don't. Then what's the point of getting it?
What's the point of getting a Pro?
What's the point? What's the point of the PlayStation Pro? Other than
no, the PlayStation Pro does some upscaling, has more memory, but they have the S.
Really,
the
it's
S does
not
that
much of a leap, though.
It
exactly. It's not that much of a leap. And
neither one's.
But people are still buying
if you're gonna come out with, if you're making a Scorpio, I want to be amazed. Don't tell me that it doesn't.
They're
do
not
anything
gonna. The
different.
thing is that that's if you want to be amazed, then might as well just put some money into your PC rather than.
But that's what I'm saying. That is the point. Then this doesn't need to exist.
A second. Didn't you buy the Pro?
I did buy the Pro.
Buy the Pro, right? That shit wasn't that much of an improvement. So
no, it's not. But that's what I'm saying. If the S is the comparable to the Pro.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. The S is comparable to the Slim, bro. The S
it's not. No, because it has more memory. It runs
no, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
He's talking about the S, not the Scorpio.
S.
Yes, the Xbox One S doesn't have any more RAM than the fat Xbox One.
No, actually, it has less. Oh no, I thought we were comparing it to the PlayStation.
Yeah, I'm thinking of the hard drive size. It came with the
difference is they can play 4K Blu-rays. There's no difference.
They had
bro.
the Blu-ray. I don't know. It just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. They're
hyping
it up,
and they're saying they're gonna fuck over their fans. The promise they made, we're not gonna shut you out. They said
they said that with the Kinect also, and I don't believe it. So.
Yeah. Oh no. Well, that's the other part I want to get to. Right. If they change their mind, it's going to be years down the line. It's not going to be on day one. Think about it. Connect. They dropped that shit
Thursday after the Tuesday release, but I don't think it's going to be
like. By the way, just a little inside joke for you guys. Because I didn't have my phone at the time. I lost it and shit. So Carlos had to show me this stuff. Because Adam was like all excited. Oh, they're going to have Scorpio only games. And I'm like, this motherfucker sounding like an X-Bot. And Carlos is like, should I tell him? I'm like, yeah, tell him that.
Tell me that. Tell me that, please.
Yo, man. What you number one, we're talking to OG X-Bot, man.
Yeah, so man.
Back in the day when the Xbox first came out, my man was slinging the praises of that shit. So that shit will go away. It's still in the
I'm telling them. I told everybody the main reason why I walked away is from the Xbox One's dashboard. That OS, I can't handle.
That OS is bullshit. But you saw what I said to you, Adam. I was like, your green blood is like glowing again, man.
That's it.
I'm telling you right now. There's not going to be any Scorpio exclusive games, at least until the first 2 years. Like, until the Scorpio, there are more Scorpios than normal Xbox. You're not going to see that shit. I'm telling you right now.
What triggered it, and it was from that dev when he was saying that this is not like a half-ass upgrade like what he called the Pro. He said this is a full-fledged new console. So when I'm thinking new, I'm thinking just like every other launch of a new console. That means new games. That means new games that can support the new hardware. Okay, I understand it's going to play all the old shit, and that's great. I mean, it's expected in this day and age. You don't want to keep rebuying shit. I mean, not like fucking Nintendo's forcing people to do, but it's like there's got to be something. I mean, if I go out there and I get a Scorpio, I want something special. I don't want a bunch of remaster upgrades for Scorpio.
You're going to get the Xbox One Pro. That's what you're getting with this shit. It's not going to be that much special.
And they can't be hyping it like the way they are then. With the
they have to go.
They've already started down this road, but essentially they both Microsoft and Sony literally made us excited for a slight upgrade. The shit that they always do when they do the second version of their console, they're essentially to try. It's stupid.
But Microsoft had all those devs. Remember, they had the devs from Bethesda.
You know
I'm
what?
talking about all
Nintendo
this
had a
stuff.
bunch of devs standing on the stage too. You know what? You can just pass somebody some money and say, "Hey, come on my stage and say some nice things about Microsoft." Shit.
Adam, it's not hard to get Todd Howard to your press conferences
just
because he's showing up to everyone, man.
They show, you
Yeah.
get Todd
Believe it.
Howard, you know.
I'm telling
Brian,
you,
what were you gonna
I'm
say, man? I saw your
expecting-
little thing glowing.
Expecting
Brian,
when
go
they
ahead.
press the power of the Scorpio button, the shit just levitates just a little bit off the
Yeah.
table, and I'm like, "Yo, is that glowing?" And it's like a nice little green light, and the screen pops up, and it's like, "What's your name?" I'm like, "Yo, you can talk." I'm like, "Yeah, I can talk," and I'm like, "Oh my
I'm
god,
Cortana.
there we go."
Why don't they call
Cortana.
it the Xbox Cortana?
Well,
Hey, you never
Scorpio's
know.
not
We
even
were
an official
Scorpio,
name, so who
it's
knows
just
what
the
they're gonna
running
call
right
it.
now. But hey, Brian, getting here, what do you have to say about all this?
I am not too surprised. From my understanding, like this was always like their plan, like to give like a mid-gen upgrade because, again, it's consoles. Like once you launch them, that's it set for like 6 years. And the issue is that tech just moves like so fast these days that 6 years is like 10 years in like real life. So they want to just like keep us happy, keep us fresh, and keep us like, hey, it's still shiny and stuff. But then I don't know. I'm kind of like in the sense that like does it play games at 60 frames per second? Like that's all I seem to care about. If it doesn't, then I'm not too. Then I don't really care
Yes,
because
well, it can't. If the developers choose to put,
see, that's the thing. It can. So can the PS4 Pro, but a lot of games are not. Which is kind of like, come on, like. I thought that was like the whole like these upgrade systems is that you can play games at higher frame rates and still get a decent quality of picture and still be good. But so far they're not. Well, okay, on the PS4 Pro side, they're not doing that as much. So with
Let
Xbox
me-
One side, I don't know.
let me ask you: is that on the developer side or is that like on the
Oh,
system
developer.
side?
Yeah, from the
Developer
developer side. Yeah.
Easily.
I found that shocking that like you go to a developer and you're like, here's a little bit of extra power so you can make the game 60 FPS, and they're like, hey, thanks, and you walk away and they're like, you know, I could put in a couple more resolutions with this, make it a little more lighting, a couple texture effects. Who the fuck needs 60 FPS? And then they just like whittle it away doing something else.
No, and I'm glad you say that because, and I can't believe I've actually had these conversations with people. I said, I'm like, what's the point of having this console? It's like, no one really has a 4K TV, but you can see improvement with 60 FPS. People are telling me no one cares about it, FPS. No one cares about that shit. They sounded like me 6 months ago or before I had a PC. Bunch of fucking idiots. I'm like, guys, like 4K is not going to make your games run better. 60 frames will. But the thing is, most gamers, like, they don't want that. Like, here's the thing, and I got to quote Torrance on this. Why are we trying to get 4K gaming when we haven't perfected 1080p 60 frames a second yet? We haven't done that on consoles yet. Why are we jumping all the way to 4K? It's insane. It makes no sense. Your games run better at 60 frames than like you're not gonna get a performance boost from 4K.
Dude, why are we playing the same games that we've been playing for 15 years? I mean, honestly,
that's a whole other conversation.
What is
right
the
there.
difference? What is the mechanical difference between the very first Halo game and the very last Halo game? It's like upgrading iPhones. There's no fucking conceivable real difference between them anymore. Yeah, it's a little bit shinier. Yeah, you may have a couple new guns, but it's essentially the same fucking game. We haven't made any real innovations in most areas of gaming in like 15 fucking years. We still are hampered by the same mechanics that were used to they were shortcuts because we didn't have the graphical power to get around them, but we're still fucking doing them.
Yeah, well, like I said, that's a different topic.
I'm gonna put some earmuffs on my Titan. I got earmuffs. He didn't mean it.
But again, like it's up to the developers. That's what Microsoft said. That's what he said. If you want to have 60 frames, you want to have 4K. But some developers, like with what I forgot the name of the developer. It wasn't Crystal Dynamics, the one who ported Tomb Raider. What they did was, okay, you can have one option at 4K, another option at 1080p 60 frames, and then another option with like all the fucking effects turned on, just at 30 frames a second. So at least they kind of went out of the way. But most developers like, fuck it. Here's some upscaling 4K, go. Like
that's the other thing. We don't even know. It's like I have to scour online just to find out. It's like, oh, there's a patch, and they said they were adding some stuff. They don't really ever announce these things.
They don't, because it's not a universal thing. Like every developer is just left up to their whims, and it seems like that's what's going to happen with Project Scorpio. And my prediction is, I believe that the first party games, Microsoft first party games like, Halo and Forza, they're all going to be at native 4K. I don't know about 60 frames, probably not, but they're going to be native 4K because think about it, they got to run on the old school Xbox One, right? So they have to, cater to the lowest common denominator. So it'll be easier to upscale those games. Third party games, I don't see that happening though. I think
they're doing it with the 360 now. They just have it. It's running its own little emulation. So
okay, check this out. This is from the white paper. Supposedly, it says, "Quote: We acknowledge the developers may not wish to spend all the additional GPU resources of Project Scorpio on resolution, and this is not mandated. To make the best games possible, developers will inevitably spend GPU resources on other quality improvements such as higher fidelity shadows, reflections, texture filtering, and lower draw distances. Another option developers might consider is frame rate upscaling and running graphics at 60 hertz, but the CPU at 30 hertz and interpoling animation." So it sounds like it's just pretty much mostly up to the developers what they want to do with it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think most developers, since they have to make games on multiple, I'm talking about third parties now, they have to make games on multiple systems. They're probably just going to use a baseline and just go with that instead of just giving themselves, okay, we're going to do this on this system, we're going to do that on this system. They're going to find one baseline and just go with that. I don't think you're going to put themselves through too much shit,
Well, here's the thing, and this is what Microsoft is doing that's actually pretty smart. If they are releasing a game for PC as well as console, Microsoft has kind of put them in the space to be the one being developed for, because if you're developing a PC game, you're already going to have sliding scale graphics, so you can just pretty much lock in two different states of like, well, here's the graphics set for the regular and here's the graphics set for the Scorpio. Boom, done. Then you'd probably say like, well, why don't we just develop for the Scorpio /PC and then port to PlayStation, which always causes problems, but the preferred console is always the one that's it's natively designed for. So Microsoft could be smart and get a lot more people developing on their console that way.
Yeah, I don't want to derail you too much, but do they even have lead consoles anymore? Because aren't both the PC, Xbox and PS4 kind of like PCs enough where you could just develop it on PC and just downscale it? Like, do they even have dedicated consoles like that anymore? Because back in the day,
it's the same architecture. It's the same architecture.
There's more back then. It's like, okay, this is the lead console or that's the lead console. Do we even have that anymore? I'm not sure about that. I don't know how to answer that.
There's a difference in architecture between the systems, but for the most part, I think they both run off x86 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't think that you can just throw an Xbox game onto a PlayStation. There's still going to need to be some work that you need to do to port it, which means there's still going to be somewhere you can fuck up porting it.
Yeah.
Do you remember that version of The Walking Dead that was on PS4, but it had the 360 controls on it?
Oh shit!
Do you remember that?
Oh man.
Here's the thing about it though. Every single iteration of the game, every resolution version of all the games have to kind of be QA'd. So I mean, you got to think about that as well as developing your own game. I think a lot of times, if they can work some of these things into the game, like Kojima himself, literally held back the PC version so that they could develop it properly. For Metal Gear. So I'm like, that's just a lot of this stuff is just going to add extra time. If these developers have to not only think about if they have a PC version of their third-party game, they have a PlayStation and an Xbox version of the game, and then those versions of the game, including the PC, have alternate versions where you can turn things on and off. All of that needs to be tested.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of shit.
And that probably adds additional time to development, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Because remember, both sides are saying, "Oh yeah, this is going to be easier for developers. They don't have to do too much." They're trying to minimize the shit they have to.
Well, no, they're talking about doing too much, where is using these other upscaling techniques.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about just making games for all these, because you're right about that. It's like, think about it. You have to make. Let's say you're making, FIFA, right? You got to make it for PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One, Xbox Scorpio. I don't know if they have it on PC, but it's a lot.
Make the 360 version, and they do have it on PC.
Yeah. So okay. So there you go. It's a lot.
Yeah,
all right,
and then it's not. I don't think it's just a simple thing like, oh, you just take the PC version and just give people ability. No, there's still a lot of finagling that needs to happen. I'm sure that's the reason why you don't see like why certain games for PC aren't released day on day, or they come out all fucked up like the ones from Warner Brothers.
Oh man. All right, Chris. I had you do some homework on this. So what's your takeaway from this from a technical standpoint?
Well, they got rid of that ESRAM frame buffer stuff that they were using in Xbox One. So basically, the Xbox One has a lower memory bandwidth than the PS4. So what Microsoft did is they stuck this 32 megabytes of ESRAM in there that's tied to the GPU, and they told developers that they could use it as a frame buffer, right? You could store stuff in there, but it's only a small amount of high-speed RAM. So most developers didn't take advantage of it, right? Because you don't have parity between the two systems. If I'm doing a multi-plat, I'm not going to all of a sudden code for ES frame buffer. On PS4, I don't have to worry about it because it had the memory bandwidth needed to perform at 1080p, right? So that's why a lot of the multi-plat games are at a lower resolution. So with Scorpio, now that they have high enough bandwidth, right? They don't have that anymore.
Yeah, they have 12. Well, supposedly it's 12 gigabytes of GDDR5.
Yeah, they upped the system RAM, right? So you have more system RAM available, but they got rid of that frame buffer RAM because the memory bandwidth is much higher.
Right.
Yeah. What do you guys make of that? The 12 gigabytes now, because that wasn't it supposed to be 8 before? For Scorpio,
Yeah,
I'm sure about that.
Well, the rumor was it was 8.
Yeah.
12 is a good amount. I have 16 now, but yeah, 12 is good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how they take advantage of that. I mean, games can scale if you code it that way to load more into the RAM if they can take advantage of it. So, I mean, you have to worry about parity between both systems, right? One has 8 minus whatever the OS needs, and one has 12 minus what the OS needs. And I don't quite know if the RAM in the Scorpio is faster at the same time, right? It probably is. So you have more, a larger pool of RAM to use for a game, and it's faster. So you load more stuff in there. So it'd be interesting to see how games upscale from Scorpio, right? And it'll be up to Microsoft to do that proving ground, right? So the Crackdown or something has to take advantage of that and show us what that means in the system, right? Does it really improve the experience?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. But again, it goes back to what I was saying before. It's like, okay, you have a game. Let's go for Crackdown. You have Crackdown. This is what it could do on Scorpio, but it's still being held back because it needs to be on Xbox One. You know what I mean? So how much of a gap do you want between the two the two games?
Well, what if it's not even so much of exclusive games, but just exclusive modes and content? Could they get away with that? Because maybe they could say, "Oh, that destructible environment and all the craziness that's on the Scorpio."
I think they could.
You can't get a destructible environment on the Scorpio.
Yeah.
So yeah, you could.
No, you couldn't. It doesn't have enough fucking processing power.
It's through the cloud. That's what they said. They said the console would not be able to handle it. The cloud. The cloud.
But the Xbox One, they promised it for that one too. Remember?
But then you notice they stopped talking about that.
They stopped talking about Crackdown. Period.
That's what I'm talking about. Crackdown.
Talking about Crackdown.
Crackdown got cracked down. That shit is done.
Yeah, but the cloud can store like persistent world save information. So if you destroy a building and then leave, it can store on the cloud that you have destroyed that building. And when you come back, that building will be destroyed. But it's not like all the rubble is going to be in the same places or anything like that. Or it's not like they're actively going to use the cloud to
do it.
What's that?
Can do it. Scorpio can do it. I believe it.
Oh, I don't.
So one thing that, for example, if you're playing an Xbox One game that's 1080p, running 1080p native at 60 frames per second, more than likely on the Scorpio you can play it at 4K 60 frames per second, because essentially what the upgrades were from the Scorpio going down to the Xbox One is the RAM. So now instead of, I think it's 8 gigs if I'm not mistaken, 8 gigs of GDDR3, and it's going to 12 of DDR5, and then the graphics card, which we don't know the specifics to, but we know that the computing power is going to be 6 teraflops. is a major upgrade. It's like a 4 times upgrade over the graphics card that was currently on the Xbox. The CPU is staying the same, so they might overclock it. It's still the same Jaguar chip for that board. So essentially, you might not be able to tinker around with sort of like AI and shadows. They talked about shadows using like GPU like as to render shadows more or to work with that stuff. But yeah, so essentially if you're playing a game that's 1080p 60 frames on Xbox One, more than likely you could play that natively 4K 60 frames on the Scorpio.
That sounds right to me, you know.
So that's one of the upsides, I guess.
Yeah, but not even most Xbox One games aren't running at 60 frames a second though, you know. So it'll be a select few like Forza and stuff, you know.
Yeah, and then I saw like I think it was Halo 5 Guardians that like varied, like it was 1080p 60 and then like it went down, like it's like it varies depending on I guess where in the game you're playing.
My question here then is, what game are they going to use to show off the power of the Scorpio? What are they going to be able to show off?
Forza Horizon, probably
no, Forza Motorsport.
Yeah, Forza. My bad.
Yeah,
Forza Motorsport. Yeah. Horizon was last year. I forgot they skipped years. Yeah, Forza Motorsport 7. That's going to be used. I guarantee you that because that's a car game. Those always look really nice. Forza games always look really nice. So on the fucking I was going to say the Pro on the Scorpio is like, yo, check this shit out.
And I want to say something real quick, like I know I'm saying that it's going to run natively 4K at 60 frames, but going back to what we talked about when this thing was initially announced and the rumors, there's going to be so many compromises. Like if you play the same game for 4K 60 frames or the 4K with the same levels of textures and lighting and everything, it's not going to be the same. It's the Scorpio is going to get compromised.
Yeah. So, Carlos, you're saying it's going to be, so uncompromised. That's not going to happen like these guys are saying.
No, it's
to be fair though, Microsoft themselves have never said that. It's just the crazy ass fanboys like uncompromised 4K 60 frames. This is it. It's going to kill PC. This is what these guys are saying.
Wasn't that in the announcement video though? Like it's one of the phrases that they were repeating between like the developers.
Uncompromised, right? Yeah, you're right.
Like uncompromised.
Yeah, I think that was an official.
Yeah, no, because now these guys are trying to. Microsoft never said that.
Remember, they were like, "This will be the most powerful console ever made."
Yeah, I know
that's technically true though.
Yeah, but I'm not going to dispute that. It probably will be more powerful than the Pro.
Not more powerful than the Switch, so shit, that thing's
nothing's going to top out the Switch. That's just not a fair comparison.
Exactly.
Dude, somebody posted it was like a picture. It's like, here's the first screenshot of Skyrim on Switch, and it was literally the PC version on the lowest settings possible. It didn't even have textures on it.
Oh, but did you hear that? It's not even that remastered version. It's like the
original. Not. It's the old PC version.
They can't run it.
Who wants that shit?
Nintendo only fans, bro. They're ready, man.
No, they don't. They don't want it.
They don't want
it's gonna go the same. It's gonna go to the same place as Darksider 2.
Oh, and Batman and Mass Effect.
Yeah, in the bargain bin, because you know what? Why are we? You're trying to get people interested in a game in this new console and have what is it? An over 10-year-old game on there.
But it's new to Nintendo, so
it's not new to Nintendo. I'm sure most of those motherfuckers
is new to Nintendo. That's all that matters. Remember, Nintendo's like Apple. It doesn't matter unless it comes to Nintendo.
The thing is, here's the thing.
Skyrim.
Here's the thing is, although, they were, singing the praise that they had like Darksiders 2 like 2 years late, right? And nobody wanted it. Same thing with
Batman and Mass Effect.
And Batman and Deus Ex.
And Mass Effect.
You know what?
Nobody gave a fuck.
Let's be honest. I'm sure every single Nintendo fan out there, they don't only own a Nintendo console. They probably own the other things too.
They own a real console. Oh,
they own a real console. I'm gonna tell you all I'm gonna say is that when I had the Wii, that the Wii was always the buffer console. It's like, okay, it was in assistance. It was always in addition to something else. Xbox, 360 or PlayStation 3.
Yeah. By the way,
I don't think it's any different.
I got to tell a quick story, right? One time when me, Manny, and Chris went to go see Expendables, right? I don't know. We went to some like far off movie theater, and your cousin was there too, Manny. The one that got married. He's not living here. What's his name again?
Oh, Daniel.
Daniel.
Daniel was there. Yeah.
So after we saw the movie, we went to Applebee's, right? And the guy was hearing us talk about games since Batman Arkham Asylum had just come out. So we were talking about the game, and the waiter heard us talking about it. And he's like, "Oh man, that sounds so cool. I really want to play the game." I'm like, "Yo, get the fucking game, bro." And he's like, "I only have a Wii."
I need a new server. Because he's gonna fuck up my order.
So I look at this man. I'm like, "Bro, get a real system, man." He's like, are they ever gonna bring it to Wii? I'm like, no.
Little did you know.
They did.
So guys like that, they only play Nintendo.
Well, here's the thing. You look at that guy. What was the kind of that guy? What kind of audience was he?
Yeah, man. Yeah, he was a casual. He was just a pure casual. He saw that this is what a lot of the people who bought the Wii had those people who've given up video games and have the fond memories of Nintendo things. But the only thing that they would play was those stupid Wii Sports Resort game. Right.
Mario Galaxy was too complicated.
It was crazy. Right. Anything else you guys want to say about the Faux-K system?
Listen, you know what? I wish we would stop talking about these stupid boxes. Seriously. Fuck them both. Well, Let's talk about some fucking games.
You know what? Let's fucking do that. Let's do that right now. We had Gameageddon, people. The first Gameageddon in 2017 hit, and we're going to tell you about the games we've been playing. I'm going to talk about a specific game.
How did you get the fucking? I thought you stuck up some piece of doo doo. I'm like, what the fuck is he?
That doesn't look like a finger, if you know what I mean. But look, you can move this shit, you can articulate it. You know,
How much storage is on it?
There's no storage. Look at the back. It's just a fucking key. Like a plastic.
I thought it was a flash drive.
That's what I thought too, but apparently it isn't. You can't stick this shit anywhere up your ass, maybe. But
that's a different video.
Where's the
the good Triforce made this, not the idiot Triforce. We keep ragging on that. Sorry, man. All right. Anyway, so let's get started.
What is it?
Yes, Manny. Gravity Rush 2, man. You got
Gravity Rush 2.
Tell us a story.
Incredibly fun game, and not the game that you want to play when you have a fucking deadline. Because that game, literally, I've played that because one of the funnest parts of that game is the traversal, the way she can kind of glide around, and then how big the world is now. Before it was just kind of spread out to like, there's these 3 different locations that would eventually open up. But for Gravity Rush 2, as soon as you get through the kind of tutorial thing, which kind of teaches you how the game works, they just let you loose. You know how like in Grand Theft Auto, they're like, "Oh no, you can't go to that side because something happens there. You know, we got to fix the bridge or something."
The bridge is gone. Yeah.
No, they just let you go. You know, they obviously you have your missions there that are waiting for you to do to to progress the story, but you can just go flying around. And I feel like one of the most addictive things is just looking, just searching around all the different buildings and finding these upgrade jewels. And then what they did for this game now, they have treasures that just they're on like special treasures that just randomly show up at different spots of the game. And what you do is if you decide to take the treasure quest, right? Sometimes you can just find them on your own. You'll just see like this big apple treasure chest sitting there, and you're like, oh. And then what it does is that it tells you to take a photo of it because you get this little photo mode. What you do is you try to take a good enough photo to kind of give another person a hint as to where the treasure is, and then they get that from you. But you don't have control who gets it. It just shows up.
Interesting.
So like you'll sometimes see a little prompt that says, "Oh, a treasure, a new treasure has appeared," and then you go to it and it says, and it gives you a photo in it. You're like, "Okay, where is that?" So you click on it and then it puts you in the general location in the map of where it might be, and you just got to use the picture to kind of tell out where it is. So, and then there's also like leaderboards, and then the story is really fun. It just kind of continues off where it was. They have this really nice comic book thing from the last one where you can kind of, it's not a voiced game, but it doesn't really matter because they kind of speak this weird like French Japanese language.
And I got to ask you the other one, because I was watching this, Visual Foundry. They were doing a breakdown of it. First person mode. Very interesting.
Well, you want to know something? All the original version of Gravity Rush has a first person mode.
Oh, wow.
It has.
Speaking of the original Gravity Rush, did I hear that this version on console comes with a copy of the first one?
No, it should though. No, it doesn't, but it should.
So if you don't have a Vita, what is the solution? Did they put Gravity Rush
on for it?
It's part of a pre-order. The pre-order, if you pre-ordered, I think you got something.
Yeah, no, right. Just buy it on PS4, bro.
You can get it on PS4. It's not.
I have Gravity Rush on my Vita. I'm just saying for somebody new who's like, Gravity Rush looks pretty cool, but I don't want to start on the second one. You can buy it on the PS4.
The thing is, you can buy it on PS4, and then the game really doesn't. You don't need to have played the first one to kind of know what's going on, because it's somewhat self-contained. They're kind of like we got stuck in this storm and somehow we ended up in this world. So it's kind of like a all new start to the thing. It's almost like like they're just giving you like a reset.
Yo, man, visual proof. See, Gravity Rush, PS4. Bam.
Yep,
That's
there you
go.
Yep, I bought that for Tony last year, by the way, for his birthday.
I finally played it.
He played it almost a year later. But man, I got really great game, really great art design. I mean, it's nice to see a game that's not like, redoing the hyper realistic stuff. They actually decided to go with a nice actual style to the game, as opposed to kind of replicating reality. And the game is just like a lot of it just feels like you're in a Mobius comic book. All these floating cities, all kinds of crazy cars. Really fun game, and I really suggested you guys should play it at least at some point.
Nice. All right, Adam, man, Yakuza 0.
Yakuza 0.
Tell us about that.
A lot of subtitles. Oh yeah, that's always good. It's a lot. It's a lot of subtitles. Oh my lord, subtitles for days. But it's fun. I mean, I don't know how far I am in it. All I know is that I learned the hard way that the new techniques that we've become accustomed to of autosave, that is not in this game. It doesn't autosave. You have to find a damn phone booth.
Yep, old school, man.
Yeah, it's like the day it came out, I'm playing. I don't know how far I was, but I know I did a few long dialogue scenes, because I know I read that was a big part of it, bringing back the old Metal Gear 3, type of dialogue parts where it's like 10, 15 minutes and they're still just talking. So anyway, going through all that, did a few other little things to combat. It's pretty fun. It reminds you of like a Dynasty Warrior type of thing. You get thrown into like an alleyway. There's like 5-6 guys around you. It's like, all right, beat the shit out of them. It's like, all right, that's what I'll do. And then you start unlocking moves and stuff. But with the save, I put in, I don't know, maybe 2-3 hours. It was late. I was like, all right, I just put in suspend mode. I'll come back tomorrow. So next day I come in, go to play. All that there was an update, right? Before I even clicked the update, looked up online. I was like, oh, this helps out. It adds some other features and stuff. Oh, it's a useful update. Yeah, update now. And then when the game launched,
it shuts your shit off when you update.
Damn right. But I knew it was going to do that, but I didn't know. I was all the way back at the opening credits.
Damn.
And I'm like, what the fuck happened? Did this glitch on me? And then I find out, oh, you got to go to the phone booth and save. I didn't do that. So I didn't save. So there goes that. So I had to do the whole shit over again. But whatever. Now I know. Find the damn phone booth. But it's cool. When you're fighting in the street, if you're near, let's say, a car or a bike, it sort of feels like a sleeping dog, where you can interact with the environment around you. So it's like I was fighting this one guy. I grabbed him. I was near a car. He opens up the car door, slams his head in. Those type of things. You could pick up a bike, start swinging a bike around and stuff, banging him down.
I saw that showing the trailer to somebody. I think that was the moment we saw him. Was like, did he just hit somebody with a motorcycle? And I was like, I think he did.
He picks up a motorcycle or a Vespa and just starts slamming.
Yeah, you pick up regular bicycles and stuff. And I thought maybe like there was a way to avoid it. Like I'm going down an alley and some guy's like, hey, hold on, whatever. He's calling me out. He's pissed off. Yeah, he's pissed at me. And I'm like, I don't got time for this shit. I'm trying to do the mission. And I'm running down the block. The dude keeps running after you to trigger that, whole fight. And it pops up, fight hooligans. I'm like, oh. was like, all right, I beat the shit out of them. I get some money, whatever. And then I run down, and then it was a fight drunkards. I'm like, no. Yeah, and you have to beat the shit out of them to sober them up, and then they thank you. Yeah, they're like, oh, thank you. Yeah, and it's so weird. And then after that, after doing all this shit and you're talking all tough in the game, your buddy's like, yo, you want to go to a bar? Yeah, you go to a bar. Yo, let's get crazy. What are we gonna do? Karaoke. And now you got a karaoke mini game that just started. And I'm like, really? This is what badass Yakuza guys are doing now? They're drinking and fucking playing karaoke? Whatever. I said, let me just get to the chicken. I'm looking for the damn chicken. I want to play some Outrun. I want to do the old school stuff. So but you got to go through the story. It's not, even though, people are like, oh, it's a great open world game. They're comparing it. It's the GTA. Oh, it's Japanese version. No, it's not. No, it is not. So many streets. I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. Look at those buildings. Let me run over there. I cannot detract from my mission. I have to go, oh, and it just like pushes you back.
So is it? I've been wondering this. Is it more or less open world than Shenmue? Because Shenmue was kind of not super open world.
It's on that line. Shenmue. It felt
It still gives you the option to detract, but not
a little
just
bit.
do your own
exactly.
thing.
You may, if you go into, let's say, a four-way, right? You go into the middle of an alleyway and there's 4 different directions you can go. You can go back, left, right, whatever. You can go down those roads, but what you find at the end might just tell you to go back toward the center. So it's just for the sake of just walking down. Maybe you'll trigger some hooligans and you'll fight them, but that's all that was in that alleyway. Even though you see it's an open street, and you're like, why can't I just go to that street? Then they have like a weird barrier. It's like, nope, you can't do that. All right, whatever.
This is one of the things that I really hope they put in like the new Shenmue game where you can actually avoid street fights, because I'm pretty sure in the old Shenmue game, like, you didn't have to engage when people were calling you out. But I'd also like to see you have like a neighborhood reputation where, like, if you always just like shy away from the drunks coming home from the grocery store, they're just gonna pick on you more, kind of thing. Like, I'd love to see them put some more advanced stuff in there like that, because I think from what you're sounding like, that's just kind of the limitation of the video games. Like, we all want to be able to like skip this trigger sequence, but the game is like, but there's a trigger sequence.
Yeah, like, you have to do it. And maybe when I play later on, maybe it'll open up. Some games do that where it's like they put you on a path for a certain point, and then after that, it's like, bang, everything's open. Go do your thing. But so far, it's like I've come across the main gang, and they're telling me to do certain missions, go to a precinct, turn yourself in, do this, do that, do this. Like, but I can't seem to like just venture off. Maybe later on it'll pop up because I can see things on the map, but everything on the map is stuff for the mission that I'm on. There's no side quests or anything, but I know there are later on.
Yeah, I think you're just too early, because I mean, when I was still early, like, you had to play a bunch of hours before you could actually just do whatever you want, And then of course, when the game progresses, more and more missions unlock and stuff.
Where it throws you, like in a downtown environment, you're seeing all the lights. It's beautiful. You're seeing all these storefronts and stuff, and I'm like, oh great, I'm gonna wander off. And then the guy with you is like, yo, what are you doing? Follow me. I don't want to follow you. I want to go down that way. And it's like, nope.
You must follow the story before you can go on your own.
Yeah, and I was like, oh man,
you must obey.
Dude, I love the idea of like the actual Yakuza. Like, one guy's walking down the street, but like, we have Yakuza business to take care of, and the other guy's like, oh, ice cream.
Yeah. But
like,
besides that,
Yakuza business. He's like, let's go down this street. It looks pretty. Like, no, like, you fucking. Like, I imagine I would be the most retarded Yakuza member ever. Like, can we go down that street? I think I saw a vending machine. I want to get a soda. I have to go to the bathroom. Do we have to do this right now?
Are there any Virtua Fighter toys inside this vending machine?
and that's what I was looking for. I'm like, damn, I want to go explore. I want to see, because I mean, the world is beautiful. It's a beautiful game.
Yeah, no, you'll get to explore. You just got to put a little bit more time.
But besides that, it was fun. It's fun, So far,
we have a Yakuza business for you.
The only thing is that you're trying to focus on the story, So it's like when they're like a bunch of guys and they're all screaming at each other in Japanese, and it's just flying across, and I don't want to, make fun of it, but it's like, I'm like, whoa, slow your roll. Who's pissed at me? Who's screaming? Is it the Japanese guy on the left with the deep voice, or the guy on the right with the super deep voice? Who's pissed? There's only certain points where you'll see that you can press X to just like slow the text or pause it. So you'll still hear them, screaming their stuff out. But at least with the dialogue subtitles, you can pause and be like, all right, read it. Okay, let's go. Let's keep going. Because there's some parts. There was one part where they were just 4 guys in a room, and they was just popping up every. And I'm like, fuck, I can't even look away to drink some. I'm like, fucking shit, what's going on? You gotta focus, or else you forget it. Next, they're like, all right, go do it. Dude, fuck, man, play it back again.
It's hilarious, man. Yeah, Yakuza is interesting because they have a lot of dialogue in it. Like, I don't know how it is in that one, but the Yakuza 3 I played, like all the dialogue was like, how it goes, like
it does it. It does. It sounds like someone's typing it.
You'll hear.
There you go. They didn't change that.
Hilarious, man. But I'm glad you're liking it though. Like, to me, I'm glad you enjoy picking up a bike and beating the guy up with it, and then only having like a tire left. That shit is the greatest, man. Like,
I'm glad that you can interact with the environment like that, because now it's like, damn, it's like, all right, I want to find out what else I can pick up and what I can use as a weapon.
I don't know why, but it's really satisfying to beat people up with like those like cones, the traffic cones. Just beat the fuck out of them with those. Are great,
The best was in Dead Rising. You could put it on their heads. We're like,
yeah, that's right.
And then they're like, oh,
that shit is funny. All right, and then the next big game that came out is Resident Evil 7. So I've been playing that. Carlos been playing that. Man, this game is fucking scary, man. Like, this game, like, I think it's like only 8 hours or something. I haven't beaten it yet because I can only play an hour or 2 a day. It's like, it's too much for my heart, But the thing is, like, despite the fact that it's in first person and it's like not really zombies, it's still a Resident Evil game at its core. There's some shit that happens in the game. Even early on, it's like, yeah, this is fucking Resident Evil. This is what happened. Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Like, because people are like, oh yeah, there's some more grounded Resident Evil. It's like, no, when you get thrown 50 feet across the room, by one arm by a person, there's a fucking Resident Evil ass game.
Nemesis.
Yeah, there's some shit. There's some Tyson Nemesis, some other shit in there. I like it, and I said this from the beginning, even though I was like, oh, I'm too scared to play that. I think this was the best move for the franchise to do after 6 almost fucked up the entire thing, So I'm glad it went to a more back to basics horror, but made it modern horror.
How funny would it be if right at the end, Mia Jovovich, whatever, just comes out and saves you, and it turns into like a movie tie-in?
Oh my God, that'd be insane.
Oh, no.
And they're playing her lousy techno music.
Yeah, but like it still has the shit you remember, like save rooms, with your chests and stuff. You still gotta do item management, you still gotta do puzzles and shit. You gotta conserve your ammo. All the classic Resident Evil shit is there. It's just you're not some big marine guy punching rocks,
How big is that house? Because from when they show from the outside shot, it doesn't look that big.
It's actually pretty huge.
It's huge. Yeah. It's like the Spencer Mansion. The Spencer Mansion doesn't look that big from the outside. You go in, it's like, damn, this shit is big.
Yeah, because like when you first go into it, it just looks like you're in a smaller house because there's like a little tiny kitchen in there, but it gets bigger.
It gets stupidly big,
There's like little passageways and stuff like that like you can sneak on that is like hidden, that wouldn't be part of the house.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Carlos, what's your experience been with the game so far? How's that been like?
Man, it's just like you, man. I can't freaking breathe when I'm playing that game, and I can only play it at night. Like, I wish I could play this during the day.
I have a rule about this game. I don't play it past 10 p.m. I'm like, nope. And I put the brightness up in the game too. I usually don't do that. I put the brightness up so I could see what the hell's going on.
Does remote play work for the Vita on that?
Carlos did it. Carlos, you got a story, actually.
You can do it, right? You could probably do that from work.
Yeah, well, not from work, but yeah, like I was talking to Tony. I'm like, hey man, I can't freaking beat this thing. It's like the first boss, I guess. And like, well, I tried it at least twice, but then I'm like, I'm just gonna give up, and then I'll play it tomorrow. And then Tony's like, yo man, you gotta fill that shit with lead, man. So I'm like, okay. And then just one time, I picked up the Vita. I'm like, let me try playing it on my Vita. So I picked up my Vita and I beat it on the first try. But the crazy thing is, I don't know if you can use like your first aid, because first aid on the DualShock is R1, and I don't know what that is on the
It's the
Vita.
pad.
It's probably the pad. It's
Pad
a
on the
trackpad
back.
on the back.
It's either the top of the pad, the top left, top right, or the bottom left and bottom right of the pad.
One thing I found really funny about that game is the way they kind of did certain things. Like they put like a lot of your your energy on that little watch on you. So now you have the little thing on your hand, and then when he heals, he just pours it on that one hand.
Yeah, he just pours some medicine on himself.
He just pours medicine on his left hand. It's like, oh, good.
Is that any less ridiculous than first aid spray? Now it's just water.
Yeah, it's like, shh, I'm good now.
Well, smoking plants and rolling up joints in the first.
No, the plants are in this one too, but you mix it with the thing, and then you just make this kind of salve or juice that you just pour in your hand.
Yes.
It's like good, hand fixed.
Yeah, but so Manny, I know you've seen most of the game. What would you think of it?
I thought it was. Here's the thing: I don't have any interest in actually playing the game, but I did watch all the cinematics and story stuff. And
like Jagon.
Yeah, I mean, I just let it run. Here, by the way, all the cinematics and story stuff, 2 hours of gameplay, by the way.
Oh, really? Interesting.
So it's 2 hours of the game you spend listening to, talking and, finding out certain things. But it left everything in. They even left the little things to read too. But nice. I mean, I think it's really well done. And I mean, there is, I don't know exactly what point you guys are at, but it's really well done. But it gets, one thing about the game to know is that it gets more Resident Evil-y.
Yes. Yeah, there was one part, because I don't want to spoil for anybody. I'm like, yeah, this is a Resident Evil game right now.
Is there a lot of backtracking? That's what I want to know.
There's minimal, but not too much.
I hate the backtracking. I hate the basement to the top to the basement to the
No, they don't do stuff they like that. Like the traversals, like the traversal puzzles are usually on the way over to the whatever puzzle you're going to. So you'll find the things that you need eventually, and then eventually work your way back. But like the way the backtracking kind of weirdly works is that certain areas will eventually lead you to a place that you've already been.
Yeah, exactly. So like you do have to backtrack, but it's minimal, because you're right. Most places, even new areas, lead you back into an old area. Kind of like, you know what I mean? Like Metroid, they're kind of all connected like that. What
game I went the last
eventually? Oh, go ahead.
The last Resident Evil one that I played was that episodic one.
Oh yeah, Revelations, right?
Revelations, that was it. And then I remember getting on the second big boat, and it was the same thing. It was like, go to the room, then I was like, oh, there's a weapon on the wall, can't grab it. Then go all the way in the basement. Oh, damn, you need that weapon. Now you can go get it. And I'm like, oh,
that is the one. That is the better of them too, though. Resident Evil Revelations, which is also directed by the same guy. This Resident Evil directed by the Resident Evil Revelations director, which was better of the Resident Evil games. I mean, I call that game Resident Evil Space, because it's literally Dead Space on a cruiser, on a cruise liner.
One thing that I'll give this game is that it seems like it's really well crafted. Like every sound and every shadow that appears in the game, it's like the perfect moment. It's like you're not super scared, but then like you see something at the right moment and then you're like, oh shit, and then it just keeps you tense for like the whole time. Like even if it shows up, you're just tense and you can't breathe. What's up?
When I played the demo, right, and the one thing I was like, is this game going to do a lot of jump scares? Like, do they have that where it's like, oh, I just turn around and there's just a monster staring right at me or something?
No, they don't. That? They do jump scares, but not a lot. It's more of
like smart jump scares. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, for lack of a better term, like the jump scares work in this game. They don't feel cheap like they do in some other games. But the thing is, because of that, I kind of anticipated some of the jump scares, so they didn't really scare me too much, But I'm with Carlos. So go ahead, Carlos, and I'm going to expand on what you just said. Go ahead.
So just going back to jump scares, there's one thing that I'm not even going to try to say like too specific about it, because I don't want to spoil anything. Like there's this one part where like there's something on the floor and you pass by it like 3 or 4 times. I don't know if this was a glitch. But like I literally like I didn't know what the hell I was like supposed to do, so I just kept running back and forth in the house, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? And then I passed through this thing like 3 times, and like on the 3rd or 4th time, like I got a jump scare, and I'm like, what? Did this only trigger because I passed through it like 3 or 4 times, or is this a glitch or something?
I think
what are we talking
well,
about?
the thing is, if you played the demo, there's a lot of like hidden variables on certain things. Like, at least in that one, there's like different ways of beating that version of the game, the demo, stuff like that. And I definitely think there are certain little variables that change your gameplay. So I would feel like if the game probably realizes that you don't know where you need to go, and they're going to fuck with you a little bit.
Yeah, the other thing is, like, unlike PT, right? This game takes place in the real world. There's no supernatural shit going on. So all of it was kind of grounded in that way. There weren't any moments where, like, what's going on here? I mean, there are a little bit later on, but even that's explained too. You know what I mean? But it's not like something can't just magically pop up in front of you out of nowhere like that, because it's still grounded in some type of reality. Remember, this game still takes place in the Resident Evil universe. You know what I mean? There's no ghost in that world.
When I was playing the demo, I got to it's somewhere in the kitchen where you can see like the outside, but it's like all the doors all gated up and stuff. All these locks, and I kept saying, shit, once I turn around, there's going to be something there. I kept having that feeling that there was going to be something behind me every time I turn around. Or when I found the tape and you open up a cupboard, it's going to be like, oh, I'm going to close it and there's going to be something there. And I hate those because I'm like,
you can't play this game there because okay. Remember when people talk about the first Resident Evil, right? They always say, oh man, the scariest part was when that dog jumped out the window. Everybody talks about that. This game is literally that moment for the entire game.
Because you don't know when something is gonna just like leap out at you or do something else.
Like Resident Evil 1, but like this one, it's inside a house and it's first person, so it's even more claustrophobic. It just adds to the intensity of like the suspense of the game.
I don't know.
Yeah, Adam's like, no, son.
Well, I gotta admit that old man that punched you in the demo. He's in there. He has like Jason Voorhees speed. Like if you run away from him, you just see his hand grab your face.
Yes,
he like catches up to you no matter what.
But one thing I did want to talk about though is like, even though you do feel like that pressure on you, because it's really intense, the game actually does do a very good job of like ebbing and flowing it. You know what I mean? Like you're scared, you're tense and stuff. Then they give you a boss battle where you could actually fight back and you feel action again. When I played this one demo, it was actually the first hour of the game. Basically, I'm like, okay, there's action in this game. I'm on board. Because remember, if you guys heard this podcast before, I was very much on the fence about this game. I'm like, I don't want to be scared for like 10 hours, But this shit, I'm like, okay, I could fight back. That's cool. Even though I still have to manage my shit. There are a lot of places where it's better to just run away because you don't want to waste your ammo. But there are definitive boss battles. And the boss battles, to me, and Manny, you could probably agree with this, those are Resident fucking Evil. They're Resident Evil.
Oh, yeah. They're totally Resident Evil.
I'm like, okay, this is, even though it's kind of stupid, sometimes it's like, you're walking around there because remember, your supplies and shit are very limited, right? But just like a typical video game, you get to that one spot, there's a bunch of supplies everywhere. It's like, okay, I'm gonna have to face a boss now, But the boss battle so far, I haven't played all of them yet. Because I think I'm getting close to the end. I like this, especially this one boss battle. I'm like, yo, this is Resident Evil shit. This is crazy.
And every time they kill you, you think it's part of like a cutscene or something. Like, oh, I'm supposed to die in this part. No.
There's only one part where I'm not gonna spoil it, but where you get mutilated. That's supposed to happen. It's crazy. But other than that, it's like when you die, you're dead. But yeah, Resident Evil, very, very good game. And I apologize to anyone that wanted us to talk about Tales of Berseria. None of us bought it. Too many games, man. I'm gonna play a game during the summer. But this right here, this week, games, man, games is crazy. Very happy about that. All right, let's move on here to our next topic. This is pretty interesting. So there's oh shit, I actually forgot to talk about this one. I completely skipped over this shit. We got to talk about this whole HipHopGamer situation, man. This is nuts. Okay, so IGN gave Resident Evil, talking about Resident Evil, a 7.7 out of 10, right? HipHopGamer did agree with that.
That's a fine, which by the way is a fine score.
It's a good score.
It's a medium. It's a medium.
It's not though. 5 is a medium.
5 is low.
No, it's not.
On their scale?
No, on their scale it is, but I don't like this is why I don't like review scores, right? Nobody uses the entire scale. The scale starts at 7 for most review sites, which is bullshit. You know, it's like use the whole scale. That's why I like Coalition scale. 5 is literally medium. It's a good game. Nothing's bad. Nothing horrible. It's just there. It exists. You know, so anything above that would be better. You know, so 7.7 not objectively bad score, right? HipHopGamer obviously didn't like that. He's done this before. If he likes a game and, you know, reviewers give it a bad score, he goes after him. You know, he wants to smash him, as he says, you know. So he goes after this IGN reviewer, right? And he got a lot of flack for it, a ton of shit. Why did he get more shit this time than he did before? Because the reviewer was a woman. Everybody went after him now. All the editors.
What does that have to do with anything? I don't get it. Like,
Adam, you got to pay attention, bro. Like, you know, we live in a culture now where you can't say anything like even remotely against women. You know, he didn't.
Wait, no, but that's what I'm saying. He didn't say anything. And did he say anything?
Everything he said specifically, everything he said about her, he said about guys. The exact same language, but because it's a woman, everybody went fucking crazy, right? And I'm of two minds on this. It's like, on the one hand, I think people are over exaggerating because he's not literally going to come beat this woman up. Come on. Like, he said, you know, smash.
He said that?
Yeah, but he says that. Here's the thing, and I'm gonna.
He says that about everybody.
I know, but he didn't say. Yeah, but he didn't say anything. He's like, "Oh, this chick or this woman." He didn't say anything.
Called her by name. He called her by name, Chloe, whatever. You know, it's like I'm gonna take this review and I'm gonna smash it to pieces, something like that. You know, but people remember. You know what? I'm gonna say it. Carlos told me not to say this. I'm gonna fucking say it. White people take shit too, like, literally. They take slang too literally. Like, this is why, and I've always said this, when I go to events and stuff, I talk to white people very differently than I would talk to you guys. You understand where shit's coming from, you know. They won't. They take everything literally. And with HipHopGamer, some of his stuff could be seen as inflammatory, right? So obviously, you know, this will happen, but now that he said it against a woman, it made it even worse. So it's like, on the one hand, it's like, dude, like, you should understand the type of culture we live in now, where you can't say that sort of stuff without being labeled sexist. But on the other hand, and I'm going to be honest, he did this to himself because, again, why do you care what these fucking sites give games? Who gives a shit? You know, he always does this. It aggravates me. I love this guy, but he aggravates the shit out of me. But it's like, he's like, oh, yo, GameSpot gave it, blah, blah, blah. I'm gonna fight him. I'm like, who fuck cares? Let them do their thing. You worry about yourself, bro. But now he's in hot water because he said this shit about a woman now. So I don't know. And he's going to PAX South right now. So it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of flack he gets from people, like, face to face, you know?
Well, he's going to have to come out and say something before he goes. Be like, HipHopGamer
does not apologize. He already doubled down. He said these people are being soft, they're being pussies, all this other shit, you know. I don't disagree with his sentiment. I just don't like his phrasing, right?
Damn pussy. You know, saying that to a girl.
Yeah, you can't do that nowadays, man. You really cannot. Here's the funny thing: I get in trouble for the way I say shit, right? I would have said there's a better way than hip hop. I'm like, listen, I don't think IGN is right. I don't think that review score is right. But, you know, you come check out my shit. That's what I would have said. You know, don't worry about IGN. You worry about me. You know, I give the real scores.
Was it the overall from the Metacritic? It got pretty high numbers, right?
Yeah, but
no, it did. But the thing is that he just doesn't like. If it's a game that he loves and evangelizes,
championing, then yeah, that's in. Yeah, everyone like it.
Here's the thing about HipHopGamer, and he's more of a fan than he is a journalist,
which is a good thing, by the way. I actually like that. Yeah.
Which is a good thing, and also it's a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. At the same time, it's a bad thing because if you're just more of a fan, you can't be objective about it, right? Like me, I personally think 7.7. You know, it is a good score. I think it's a little low, but I don't care. If that's their opinion, who gives a shit?
But you know what? Remember the Division when that came out? All these sites were giving it like 8s and 9s, and then IGN came out with like a 6 point something or something. I mean, in a way, they sort of called it because in the long term,
right about that.
Yeah, in the long term, I was like, yo, this shit just fizzled out.
But even IGN's review, I don't agree with it, but I understand where that girl Chloe's coming from. Like, okay, because she didn't like the boss battle. She thought they were too cliche, you know? I'm like, I could see that. You know,
said it too. You said, oh, it felt like Resident Evil.
I liked it. I liked it because it was cliche. I'm like, this is fucking Resident Evil. Like, I don't disagree with her because she said the boss battles felt a little out of place. I do agree with her on that. And that's why she took dock points. I wouldn't have docked it for that, but I understand where she's coming from, right? But again, and hip hop, you know, I love this dude, but he doesn't fucking learn. It's like, let it go, dude. Worry about you and your fans, man. Don't worry about IGN. You know, they don't mean nothing, bro. You worry about them. You know, don't worry about them. Worry about yourself. But he's doubling down. He's tripling down. This is HipHopGamer, you know. But now he's catching more heat. He's even catching heat from some allies, which I'm very, like, I guess, disturbed. I'm like, wait, you're supposed to be his friend. Why are you turning on him now? Very interesting, you know. This is why I don't talk as much shit on Twitter anymore, people. I keep my fucking mouth shut now. This shit is crazy, man.
Well, you know, here's the thing. I mean, this goes with my belief in general about your public persona. You know, there's certain things that you just stay away from. You know, there's like religion and politics are like the two golden rules that you, even at work, you just stay away from that shit, because you know what? That stuff, it doesn't, you know, you start getting into that road, then people, you know, you tell people that you think agree with you start, you know, and it gets ugly. So just, you know what, keep it to surface shit, stuff you like. I like games, I like drawing, I like this. And it also, it's also a fact that it's like everybody uses Twitter as their, you know, their soapbox.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah, there's a lot of Twitter activists, as I like to call them these days.
It's a lot of Twitter activism in which you know, again, of course, I'm not going to tell people how to do the way they do it, but to me, you know, just leave it alone, because I feel like even when you, no matter what side, you know, you're going to alien, you know, what side of, you know, Republican, Democrat, or whatever else you are, you know, alien, you know.
Well, you know, I'm sorry, man. I said to cut you off because Dio is in the comments, right? He said he was upset over something about this. He said he's really upset and offended that HipHopGamer was playing his game on easy.
See, that's some politics you got to talk about, because that's some shit right there. But yeah, you know, come on, guys. It's like just leave that stuff out of it, because you know what? Especially if you have a high profile, you know, like maybe like a HipHopGamer or somebody like that, you're releasing your personal opinions about religion and stuff like that, and politics. You're going to start alienating people.
Talking about politics, he just.
Oh no! I'm not talking about. I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that in general. I'm talking about you know, like when it comes to this sort of stuff, you just kind of leave it alone. But for HipHopGamer, he stepped into something that he didn't realize he stepped in.
Yeah, he didn't realize what's going on now. Brett, since you missed out, I'm gonna give you just a quick recap, right? So basically, IGN gave Resident Evil 7.7 out of 10, right? HipHopGamer didn't like that, so he made a video calling him out, right? You know, and he used his usual language. You know, I'm gonna smash him. You know, these guys are trash. Blah blah blah. He does this all the time when a game comes out and a site gives a bad score. Only difference was this reviewer was a woman. Everybody went after HipHopGamer. I think you know how that went. He didn't change his language, but they're like, "Oh, you want to smash her? Really?" Like. He said that about guys, and he's not literally saying he's going to smash her. That's crazy.
If someone's new and at least to his approach toward things, then but
these are guys. I'm looking at the conversation. These are people that have known him for years, and they're like, HipHopGamer, what you did right now was uncalled for. I'm like, he does this at least once a year, but the only difference is the woman now, so now he's a sexist. You know, and of course, HipHopGamer's not making things any better because he's doubling down. You know,
he's doubling down, and the thing that he doesn't realize exactly what the situation is. He's just like, you know, obviously his
whole thing is he's like, listen, this is the way we talk. This is slang. You guys are taking it too seriously. Yes, he's right in that sense, but at the same time, like I said before, white people tend to take these things literally, so you got to watch your.
No.
Not you, Brett. Not you. If I
I'm not even saying it's white people. Like I am saying like mixed race people are the most fucking trigger happy, offended people that I know. Like I have a friend who has curly hair, and she flips out anytime anybody like mentions that her hair is curly or thing like that, because she hears curly and she thinks kinky, and she thinks like people are pointing her out as like a minority. It's like, no, dude, you just have curly thick hair.
You're pointing out the obvious.
Yeah, like it's. So
well,
here's my question: is the writer of the article a white woman?
I don't think so. I think she may be Asian.
Oh, then hip hop's fucked. I mean, if it was a white woman, he could call the progressive stack thing, and I mean this in all seriousness, as horrible as this sounds, and as much as I disagree with it, he could call in the whole progressive stack and say, well, you just don't know my experience as a minority, and you don't understand the way that we talk in my social group.
Well, that's what he's saying to the,
he said about
white
slang.
people. That's what he's saying to the white people coming after him, you know? He's saying, you don't know where I come from. You don't know the way we talk, blah, blah. And I do agree with him on that. Like I was saying earlier, Brett, you weren't here when I said this. Except for you, obviously, because you're Irish people and Italian people don't count for this. For most white people, I watch the way I talk to them because they will take things too fucking literally, you know? Like, so now hip hop is experiencing this again. They think that HipHopGamer is threatening this woman with physical violence, which he isn't. That's just the way he talks.
I don't even know if it's white people as much as like fucking white knights. Like, people wanting to get offended or jump to the defense of things, or
I'm pretty sure there's some of that because I've seen some, minority people coming after HipHopGamer over this. And I also think, and I'm going to be completely honest right now, I think it's people who just don't like HipHopGamer to begin with going after him. They got another excuse to go after him. That's the other thing. But again, I told him this on the show. I told him this in his face. I'm gonna say it again. Hip hop, stop worrying about what these sites give games. If they give it a low score, don't worry about them. Worry about you. Worry about your audience. Don't worry about IGN. Don't worry about GameSpot. Don't worry about any of these fucking sites, man. You're gonna get in trouble like right now.
Well, okay, he's on a thin line here. I mean, to a certain extent, how do I put this? To a certain extent, hip hop plays a character or a caricature of himself. So just about anything that he says has to be taken with a grain of salt. Like, like Hulk Hogan saying something in, the Hulk Hogan character, as opposed to Hulk Hogan being interviewed, out
Terry Boulder.
Yeah,
the real one. Yeah.
So I think people need to understand that he's playing a character. Well, let me put it this way. Hip hop needs to do one of two things. He either needs to start being aware of his audience, which he hasn't been up until this point, and tailoring his content to whom he's speaking to, or just make the clear divide, kind of like PewDiePie. Like, look, the character that I play is an exaggerated version of me, uses aggressive language, aggressive metaphors. It is all in the name of entertainment. This is not representational of me or my personal life or anything that I would ever do to any of these people. Again, this is an exaggeration of a character that is being played. It is a personality that is being played out.
Here's the thing about hip hop. He doesn't realize his personality becomes 1,000 feet tall when the camera comes on him. He still feels like he's the same person, but he's obviously still he's subconsciously putting on this show.
Yeah, you gotta understand, he's not doing any of this consciously.
That's why I'm saying he has these two choices: either listen to what you fucking say in front of people, or just throw it out there that this is an exaggeration and that this is a character. Because if you're putting on a performance or an entertainment, you're kind of immune from saying your own things because they're exaggerations and because they're hyperbole.
No, I understand what you're getting at, but the thing is, he's made it clear many times, I'm not exaggerating. This is me. So he's already discounted that out.
But the thing is, again, he doesn't see it himself, even though we've seen it.
We've seen it. Yeah.
We've seen Gerard. And then we've seen the hip hop gamer. We've seen him transform right in front of us. As soon as the friggin' camera hits him, it's like the Wolfman or like the Hulk.
Well, it's like he said, he's a super wrestling fan, and he's putting on the show.
Yeah, but so that's what I mean, Brett. Like, that's a viable option, but he's already burned that bridge by saying, "Nope, this is me 100% all the time."
And that's why I presented two options. I'm like, you have to be careful of what you say. The only way to get away from that is to admit that this is a performance. This is not autobiographical. Like it's the same shit with Eminem. Like, you just need to be like, look, it's entertainment. It's a show, it's a song, it's a dance. It's based on some reality, but it's hyped up with smoke and lasers and sound effects and all that shit. Like you can't take it as is. I get the camera turned on me and I go nuts. The same with like not the same with me because I'm that way even without the camera off, but like I constantly have to tell people like, look, I may be hyper aggressive and I may sound sure as shit about the thing that I'm saying, but I'm not handing down the word of God from on high. I'm saying this is what I believe. Challenge me. And that's my way of dealing with people. So I understand that a lot of times I sound a lot more fucking sure about stuff or a lot less open to debate about stuff than I actually am.
Ted, that's why the Xbox guys get upset with you, Brett.
No, and I absolutely understand that. And I'll be the first one to admit, like, this is the way that I talk. And it's while it's not personality or while it is personality and while it's not a front, it's one of those like I get caught up. I'm very not aware of like I could never act. I'm very not aware of how I'm perceived with other people. I'm a very internal person. So I'll be the first person to say like I get riled up on air and like I'll be like fuck it, I want to smash every goddamn Xbox. I want to go to Xbox headquarters and still feel like breaking some fucking windows for the 2 Xboxes that red ringed on me. Do I feel that? Yeah. Am I gonna buy a plane ticket and like go out to Microsoft?
Go to Redmond
headquarters and like just smash 2 windows and be like, that's my fucking Xbox. Like, no, I'm not actually gonna do that. And the fact that I can admit that hopefully helps. Like it, and that's what hip hop needs to do. He needs to admit where the show ends, and that's the only way he's gonna get himself out of hot water. Otherwise, he's gonna have to behave himself, and his whole personality is kind of being outrageous. So you're either going to deflate your own tires or have to admit that you're putting on a show.
Oh, man, it's crazy. I'm not going to derail you too much, but I had a conversation with a friend about this. Remember how back in the 90s, it was all about shock jocks and being really over the top. And that's how you got attention. That shit doesn't fly anymore, man. Like HipHopGamer's a little bit out of his like element, you know, even with me, because my type of humor that I like is really shock jock, crazy humor. I can't really like talk about that sort of shit publicly anymore, even though I could even 10 years ago, you know, people like that sort of stuff. Society's changed. Think about it. Comedians can't even go to colleges anymore, do their performance because people are going to get offended and triggered, you know?
Dude, I hold, like, I've held the idea for the longest time, like, I hate everybody equally. That's not okay anymore, apparently. Like, you're not allowed to hate anybody. Like, I do, but I do. I hate most people. Because most people are terrible.
I know. I'm with you. Listen, I've always when people talk about race, I'm like, yes, I am a racist. I hate all the humans, all the race, the entire race of humans. Hate them all. You know, I like individuals, the entire race, but you can't say shit like that now.
And for the most part, like even racism, like it doesn't fucking matter unless you choose to make it matter. And like, I've just gotten over the fact that I don't understand why so many of you motherfuckers choose to make it fucking matter. And that's across the board. Like that goes everywhere from like white people, like white hillbillies be like, I don't want them fucking, you know, it's getting awfully dark in this neighborhood, to every fucking black guy who calls like another black guy an Oreo. Like everybody just seems unwilling to fucking hold hands and sing Kumbaya. So fuck all y'all.
There you go. Just smash the whole earth with a fucking meteor. But yeah, by the way, I'm not going to get into that too much, but I think there's some maybe racism happening here too with the whole HipHopGamer situation, but that's only speculation, so I'm not going to get into that. But it's crazy. I still want to get the guy on the show tonight. I wanted to get him on the show, but I also didn't because I had an agenda, but he wouldn't have been available anyway. But if we could get him on in the future to talk about this, I really want to do that because I want to hear from his words too. And the only reason we're talking about this now is because we all like the guy. We all know him.
You know what? Get him on for next week. He'll definitely come on because Royal Rumble's this weekend, and I'm sure he'll want to talk about that.
He's at PAX South, so he can't do it. But I definitely want to get him on just like because the thing
he's probably watching Royal Rumble right now.
Oh, that's Sunday.
You know, all right. Let's move on here.
I don't understand why this is so hard to accept. Like everybody like knows PewDiePie isn't PewDiePie all the time, right?
No, he obviously.
But again, here's the thing, though, Brett.
obviously,
his whole thing is like this is me all the time. That's what he's built himself as.
So it doesn't. Okay, and I hate to say this, but and y'all actually bought that. Like anybody would actually buy that? Like when any fucking rapper just comes out talking about how they're straight and they're from the street and they got cred. Like it's like they're all bullshit anyway. Like it's
except Mobb Deep. Mobb Deep, not bullshit.
Yeah, no, but here's the thing though. Hip hop is not actually lying because he is being himself. It's just an exaggerated version of himself. Again, like Manny said, we've hung out with Gerard. Turn that camera on. He turns into the hip hop gamer. It's still the same guy. It's still the same core dude. It's just on 10, 11.
Exactly.
It's like I always say it's like a professional wrestler. Like whenever you see a professional wrestler, like normally when he's not, in front of the camera, he's like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" But then as soon as somebody pulls up a camera, same thing I saw years ago when I was went to one of those WWF fan events, right? And I had that girl. Remember Luna Vachon?
I remember. Yeah,
she's like, she talked like that, right? So I really liked her. I thought she was really cool, and I got her autograph. And she's like, "Oh, who would you like to sign?" Like really girly sounding. And then somebody pulled up the camera. She's like, "I will make you pay." Yeah. I was like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, because that's what they want to see. Because that's what they know her from. That's her character.
That's her character.
She sounds like this. She sounds like the singer of Dimmu Borgir, man.
Yeah. It's even like Howard Stern. Like, would you expect Howard Stern in the grocery store to act the same way that he does?
I think people expect him to, though.
They do.
That's the thing.
Well, those people are wrong, in my opinion. Like, and even then, like, if you pulled Howard Stern in like off his radio show and like tried to admonish him, I'm pretty sure the first thing he would say is like, "Look, it's a radio show. We're entertaining people. We're going over the top." Like, yes, I realize I told her to take her top off, but that doesn't. And I realize I said that you should have the right to tell any woman to take her top off. That doesn't mean I'm going to go into the Apple store and tell women to take their top off. Like it's a shtick that I'm doing. It's an overblown version of me. It's in the name of entertainment. I feel like there's precedent for this kind of thing. It's not that fucking unusual.
Yeah, well, apparently people don't get it. They want to go. Yeah. They want to go after this guy, but
people also think Kim Kardashian is real.
Yeah. Oh man. By the way, I'm just imagining Howard Stern at the supermarket with Robin, looking at what is
this? Hey Robin, look at this.
Hey Robin, what is this?
Actually, just like,
she's still with him? Is that still she's still on that show with him?
Probably. Yeah, still got her locked away.
I remember she was gonna leave a long time ago. She was gonna do something else. Or she did. She had her own show for a while.
What's she gonna do? She ain't gonna do nothing.
Show. She had her own
What's she do? She just laughs and then tells the news. That's what she does.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, let's move on here. So this happened today. Very interesting. So yesterday, Marvel said they got an announcement to make with Square-Enix, right? So people
have an announcement to make.
So they're like, "Yo, we're gonna get a Marvel level in Kingdom Hearts because that's technically possible now, right?" Mm-hmm. That's what people were expecting. What the news we got today, totally unexpected, very interesting. Crystal Dynamics, Square-Enix company, will be making a series of Avengers games. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So now we're going to be getting a Spider-Man game from Insomniac. We're going to be getting Guardians of the Galaxy from Telltale and Avengers from, Square-Enix. So
I don't trust it. I don't know.
Thank you, Manny. Thank you. I thought I was alone on that one.
I'm not interested.
Nope. Yeah. Is anyone actually because to me, I'm like, oh, we finally got to get out of the dreck of superhero games because we've had nothing but bullshit.
I thought so, maybe. But did you see the announcement trailer thing? It was just nothingness.
Yeah, it was
just paper.
Yeah, it was just like, here's a hammer, here's an arm, here's a shield.
Welcome to Video Games 101. That's how you announce things. How's that different to Death Stranding? It's like, hey,
no, that's the worst way to announce things.
With some bullshit. And we're making a game.
Here's the I mean, nobody said, the thing is that the only reason why Death Stranding even slightly worked is because of
all going to pop in and say something. I knew it.
I'm going to say this. The only reason, and I understand it. I understand what the complaint about Death Stranding is. But the thing is that because the whole Konami bullshit was so hot on people's minds, him leaving, all this other bullshit. For him to leave it and not say that he was going to be working on something is, if you would have waited a little longer, it wouldn't have had the same pop as it did at that point. For Marvel, there's not anything.
Nothing. There was nothing leading up to it. Yeah.
There's nothing leading up to it. It's just like, okay, we have, if what would have been a really brilliant lead up is if they said Kingdom Hearts and then they drew, you saw Kingdom Hearts shit and then you saw the Marvel stuff. But this is just like, all right, they're working on a game.
Yeah, they're going to be working on a game, and they've put together a small team of 5 people to put together something that involves no assets of the finished game to pull up hype.
Exactly. So it's just the thing to get people excited. To be honest, I feel like they should have just waited for a real video game show to announce something like they did with Spider-Man, where they actually showed you some sort of gameplay or actually how the game looks.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. But with that in mind, though, let's just say this is going to be a good game. What type of game would you want it to be?
I don't know, because I don't know what an Avengers game would be.
Yo, like, you don't remember Captain America Avengers?
I know what arcade games are, but they're not going to make a fucking arcade game.
I thought it was going to be like Ultimate Alliance.
That's what I'm thinking.
Nobody knows, and that's a fucking problem.
Yeah, they said we have a game.
No, Brett's right. When I saw the trailer, I was like, and that was my first reaction. I was like, okay.
I saw 2 seconds of it, and I was like, all right, we don't need to see this.
This could be a trailer for a CG movie.
Yeah. All I saw in the trailer is, look what we've acquired the property rights to. Like, okay.
And just because,
what are you going to do with it?
And the thing is that just because Crystal Dynamics is involved, that doesn't mean the game is going to be any good. Just because a company has a specific pedigree doesn't mean that they always make gold.
Are you saying that all Square-Enix's games have not been gems?
Well, he's talking about Crystal Dynamics specifically.
Crystal Dynamics. The Tomb Raider games have been pretty good. I don't know what else. What else have they done besides
Crystal Dynamics? They worked on the Soul Reaver games, right? They worked on the Tomb Raider games, but the first reboot and then the second reboot. So they have a pretty good track record.
I don't know. I just feel like this at this point in time, I might change. They might change my mind, but I just feel like this is a cash grab at this point in time. That. The Tomb Raider, the Tomb Raider didn't do as good as they thought it was going to do because they decided to lock it down on something.
How did it do on the Xbox One? Though we know it didn't do that well on the PS4 when they finally released it.
It didn't do that well on Xbox.
Yeah.
It didn't do well on Xbox either. So they lost a shitload of money on this game, which should have been on everything. So what do? You get a hot property to gain some extra money so that you can make some other games. To be honest, I feel like this game, at this point in time, is just going to be a cash grab so that they can have some extra money so they can stay open.
Ooh.
Can I make some wild conjecture at this point?
Do it. This is Throwdown, man.
Did anybody else get when I watched that trailer, I kind of found myself sitting back there going like, this is a really familiar taste. Like something about the art style, something about the level of detail, something about the presentation just smacked me as something that I'd seen before. And I've been having trouble figuring out what it is. And the best I've been able to get it down to is this doesn't feel like a preview for like a AAA cinematic story-driven game. This feels like either a Gauntlet type game or something that's going to come out on the Nintendo Switch. Just it feels kind of cartoony and light. And I know that I'm going off of very, very, very little here, but it doesn't seem like this is going to be a AAA gritty, dark PS4 version of Thor where you get to do
really like the trailer looked pretty grim to me. Like they're all dead basically. That's what it looked like to me. Like we're just defeated.
And maybe that's why. Maybe it was like the fact that it flashes to a bunch of different characters like that. But
it wasn't. It was literally Thor's hammer, Iron Man's gauntlet, and Captain America's shield amidst rubble. That's the entire trailer.
And I think there was some
Hawkeye, his sunglasses, right? Like it was obvious that the Avengers were defeated. They were no more, mate, basically, So who knows what they're gonna do? By the way, I've heard some, again, this is Crystal Dynamics. People are going, yo, man, I want that shit to have the combat system of Final Fantasy 15. Like they're going crazy.
Number one, it's Crystal Dynamics. So what is it gonna be? It's gonna be something in the lines of a Crystal Dynamics game. But again, I don't know. It just seems like here's the thing. To date, Marvel hasn't had very many really great games.
They haven't. They really haven't.
I mean, the last one I could say that I enjoyed playing was the Punisher game. Oh, and the Wolverine game.
Yeah, the Wolverine game was probably the last like Marvel tied game, you know. So, but again, I'm being a little, you know. Now we're seeing, you know, like bigger companies handle these games, so hopefully it'll turn around. But we never know, right?
I don't know. I just feel like they just need to recoup some money, so they're just gonna be like, all right, like, can we get this?
That's
Marvel?
not a bad theory, you know. I'm actually glad I guess we're down on this game. Me, I'm like, oh, this might be cool, but everybody online was like, oh my god, this is crazy. So we put in the other side. You know?
I mean, like,
it's Marvel.
This is crazy.
Just
Like,
hyped up on Marvel.
It's
Hey,
Marvel.
Mike,
That's what you need. Yeah.
Exactly. It doesn't matter, you know. Here's the thing. Everybody's like, oh my god, this is so insane, but it's like, you know what? Marvel's making fucking schlock.
Yeah.
It's just schlocky games. Like,
You know what?
That sells.
It would be amazing if Rocksteady that did the Batman, if they would jump on Punisher.
yeah, if
That'd
they
be
did
good.
Punisher,
Punisher.
or if they did a fucking Daredevil game.
Yeah, then there you go for Marvel. That would work.
Oh, if they actually did a good game, that'd be nice.
Why is
Wait,
everybody?
what? You don't like the Batman games?
No, the combat's quite
Ooh.
ass.
What?
Damn,
What?
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 The
What
combat
are you
isn't
talking about?
they introduced that whole.
quote unquote combat is quite ass.
Wow, this
That's
man.
not combat. That's not combat. That's
That
ass.
shit is super combat. I don't know what
That
games
is
you're playing.
low.
What the hell?
Brian, I agree with you.
No.
Wow.
Oh my
That's not
god.
combat.
You hear the shit out of man?
Devil,
I can't.
Devil
I
May
can't.
Cry.
I can't.
That's combat. That's combat.
Adam left. All right, we're not gonna go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
Ridiculous statement.
It's
So,
not
Adam,
like
so Adam-
Devil May Cry is combat.
it's like quick
Batman
time
games,
combat.
That's like
Wait,
quick time events, like in fast motion. It's fast time events.
That's insane.
Oh my god.
That Batman game had like the best combat.
Oh come
like,
on!
like in
Its
the last
combat
5
is
years.
as good as Assassin's Creed combat, and Assassin's Creed
Assassin's
combat
Creed
isn't
combat.
real
Assassin's Creed
combat.
combat.
No.
That thing can't be compared to Assassin's Creed combat, bro. Like Assassin's
It
Creed
was
combat,
so fluid, especially the first.
It's
one.
mad fluid. You can pull off all
Yeah.
these long
All the
combos
counters and
You
reversals.
can't
crazy.
do anything. You're just pressing like it's very
Oh, you
flashy.
press a
looking
button to control a
nonsense.
character. Oh my god! You
It's
never
just
heard
very
of that in a
flashy
game.
looking nothingness. Like there is no real depth to it. It's just like okay,
Brian, I think you're probably playing it
counter.
wrong. Pull off a
no,
100 hit
I'm not
combo.
playing it
Get
wrong.
back
I'm
to
playing
me.
it right.
You know, I think you're dead wrong on this,
No.
bro.
It's just attack, counter when the guy has like this flashy thing like on his head, and then attack, do like your super move, and that's it. Like there is nothing more apart from that.
Wow, this
All
guy,
right,
this
we're-
man
we're-
is insane.
Tell-
Yeah, but we're going.
Tony,
we're
come
not-
on. You know it's nowhere
else
near
is
Soul's
No,
level of
no, no.
combat.
What else?
Soul's level's not as satisfying as Batman.
No,
though.
no,
You feel like a
Soul's not
fucking badass
satisfying.
when you
Well,
beat up
no,
50 million dudes.
See, that's
know?
what I mean. You feel like it, but you're not actually doing anything. Like the
But
game
you
is
are
what
doing. You
doing
beat the
stuff.
fuck out of all these guys. What are you talking about?
You're not
You know?
okay. Are you pulling off that combo yourself, or
Yes, of course. I'm pressing the buttons. I'm directing them. I'm doing it. The game isn't fucking doing it for me. What are you talking about?
You had to unlock the move to do it. Remember, there was other moves that you can unlock depending.
Yeah,
on the counter.
exactly. You have to pull off certain combos to do certain other combos and stuff.
All
Brian
I'm
said,
gonna
oh,
say
it's
is
just,
that
it's
no
just.
square triangle. So
Okay, let
sorry.
me
you can't
take
have a
this.
combo system without square triangle, and Tony knows exactly what I'm talking about there.
Yeah, but you can't do that in Batman games. You can't just do square triangle.
And that's why it's
Okay,
bad.
okay, guys, hold on.
Because you can't do that.
I
Like,
can.
there's
Yeah,
no
and
heavy
we
lifting, like,
just
there's
went
no
down the
blocking.
super deep rabbit hole, even though Brian's dead
Can you
wrong on
block?
this.
Can you block in that game? No, you can't block in that game. So
Yeah,
it's
you
not
can
combat.
counter,
It's just-
Brian.
Yeah, counter.
You
does
guys
not
are
take
saying the
shit
same
to
thing
do.
though. Like, okay,
No.
Brian is saying that there's a
doesn't take shit
disconnect
to
to the
counter.
combat system that doesn't make it a fluid-based combat system where you're making your own decisions a la a traditional fighting game. What Tony's saying is that it has a good rhythm and is still satisfying, and that he is still putting in the inputs. So
Yeah.
you guys are kind of saying the same thing, but at the same time, like if you're looking for something that's more like Dead or Alive or Dark Souls or something like that, then you go into Batman, you're like, man, this combat feels restrictive and kind of sucky because it's more of like a series of quick time events or a tempoed mini game. Yeah, it's still satisfying, but it's a far throw from your traditional combat. Witcher's the same way.
That's true. Yeah, it's simplified compared to a fighting game, but like you have to have skill to pull that shit off. Please try to get the trophy for pulling off a 28 combo and doing every single move in there. Please do that effortlessly in one try, and then I'll agree with you. If you could do that, I'll agree with you. If you can't, then I'm gonna say you're full of shit.
That's
Please.
just timing, though. Like there's nothing to that. Like
So timing isn't skill. Timing isn't skill. Anybody can do it. Get that fucking trophy now.
I ain't got the game. I'm gonna
Get
play
the
that.
fucking trophy now, and I'll shut the fuck up.
Well, what game is it?
It's like, I mean, timing it goes hand in hand.
What game is it? Is it City, Asylum? What?
It's the first one.
All of them. They all have the same
all of them
trophy.
have that. All of them
for
have
the easier
it.
one. Let's go for the easier one. Arkham Asylum. If you could get that shit in one try, because it's the simplest combat out there, then I'll shut up.
Oh, I don't
It's like
think
50.
it's simplest. I'm saying that it is. It is.
Can't get hit.
It is
Can't
not
get hit.
combat.
Yeah, you can't get hit. You got to do that combo.
Yeah,
You know?
you gotta do the one. Yeah,
It's a different
combo. I
approach to
think
combat.
that's
Let
I
me
hate quantum.
enrage you guys in another way. Why is everybody all over Crystal Dynamics' dick about this?
I don't know.
Because
I
they made the last
asked that question.
They made the
Yeah.
last two Tomb Raider games, and they were wildly popular. You know,
Yeah, they also made Temple of Osiris, which is bullshit.
with
And
the other
Relic-
Tomb Raider. Whoa! Hold on, Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris is bullshit. Are you fucking kidding me?
You enjoyed that?
Hell yeah, I love that, and the one before that, the Crystal Skull or whatever. You know, that was dope too. I
And
love
co-op play.
Yeah, man, they're great.
Ooh, okay.
But anyway,
The Quantic Dream games aren't that good.
Yeah, what happened?
Quantic Dream games aren't that good. I
Oh,
just had
see,
to say that.
this motherfucker, you're really
Well,
going down a rabbit hole now.
I also want to say that they're also responsible for like a good portion of the shitty Tomb Raiders.
Which those were Eidos that did those shit.
Eidos did
Those
the
were
Tomb
part
Raider
of them.
Go.
Like Legend from 2006?
Legend was a good game, dude. That was the one that brought the shit back.
Ooh, I didn't
Crystal
think so.
Dynamics.
A moment of silence right there.
What? I mean, dude, Tomb Raider Legend was fucking great. That's the one that brought Tomb Raider back into the
was.
spotlight after
Dude,
being.
I thought Tomb Raider was dead in the water until the one in 2014 came out.
Nah, dude, it came back in 2000. With Legend, and then Anniversary, and then let's just be honest, the one after that, I forgot the Underworld.
Yeah, I thought those three games effectively almost killed the franchise until
No,
they
it
were
was
like,
Underworld.
hey,
It
how
was
about we
Underworld
copy
that kinda-
Uncharted? And then they came out with the new one on
Legend and Anniversary were very well received, dude, and they were great games. I got the platinum in both of those, by the way.
I think you might just like Tomb Raider, Tony.
I love Tomb Raider.
No,
Tomb Raider is
but
my
yeah.
shit, bro.
But I agree.
I like
It's
Tomb Raider.
like
Yeah.
before that, there was like Angel of Darkness and stuff. Those games were broken
that
and
was
terrible.
Eidos.
But Legend was pretty good and had a good story.
Yeah, it was. As a matter of fact, the story of Legend is very reminiscent of Uncharted 2, which nobody talks about, But yeah, no, I love Tomb Raider, but I didn't play those schlocky Tomb Raiders because I played Tomb Raider 1 right on the Saturn. Didn't play any more Tomb Raiders until Legend, and then I played every subsequent game after that.
Oh, so we're pretty much opposite. Like I schlocked through all the fucking Tomb Raiders, up until what was it?
Angel of
Legend, I want to
Darkness.
say. I think I played up until Legend, and then
Wow.
I played like half a Legend. I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit.
You know what? For me, I never liked any of the Tomb Raiders, even the first one. I thought they were overrated.
Yeah.
All of them were overrated games, except for the recent one. I think that's the best of them. The reboot.
All right, shout out to Richard Bailey. He's like, welcome to Throwdown. He liked that little throwdown there. That's what the show's about, man. All right, the last thing here, and I threw this in here just for Chris. We got to talk about this bullshit with the Nintendo Switch Pro controller, right? Let's just be honest. If you're buying a Switch and you're a real gamer, you're going to want that Pro controller. But it looks like Nintendo's doing their artificial bullshit.
Yeah, don't pay any attention to this. Anybody, like this isn't real news. This is constructed news. Don't let Nintendo fool you.
Wait, what is it? What is it? What's the phrase now? It's
Fake news.
No, not fake news. The new one they came up with.
Artificial facts.
Artificial.
Oh yeah, no, it's
Artificial
yeah.
facts.
Alternative facts.
Alternative
Thank
fact.
you. I'm sorry. But anyway, so they put the Pro controller on sale on Amazon, right? 30 minutes later, the show sold out. I'm like, okay, so you're doing the artificial demand shit on fucking the peripherals too, Nintendo? Really?
Yeah, but fanboys keep carrying the banner and keep going, oh, see, it's going to be so successful. It's like, how do you know Amazon didn't have like 15 of those things in stock?
They did, and Nintendo specifically did it in a way to be like, look, hardcore gamers are excited about the Switch.
I guarantee
how about-
worldwide they didn't produce even they
Go ahead,
probably
Chris.
put a fifth of the total number of consoles they had ready for pre-order of Pro controllers. Like Nintendo's like conservative to the point of like tripping over themselves, and yeah, this is just artificial scarcity. Amazon didn't have that many units to begin with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Brett,
Breath of the Wild.
Hold on, Brett. I do disagree with you. I don't think they had 15. I think they had 20. Come on now.
Well, no, but I think I want to point out that I'm pretty sure that they did this very intentionally in the sense that they want people to think that real gamers are interested in the system. And so, of course, not only do they do their artificial scarcity shit, but they do it with the Pro controller.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. Manny, jump in. What's up?
I'm gonna say this. I mean, the thing is, I'm sure that shit was sold out as soon as one person ordered that shit. Because I remember when Breath of the Wild, was it was broken on Amazon for most of the day, and then all of a sudden it's all fucking sold out. How the fuck did that happen?
Did they limit the orders on Amazon?
No, they did. It never worked.
Yeah, so scalpers always do that. They're gonna go even buy 20 or 30 at a time.
Amazon wasn't even working properly. Like the user, the page to order it wasn't even working. Like the graphics or nothing was there. It was just like a Wii U thing. And then all of a sudden it finally gets up and it's gone. I'm sure like maybe one guy got in and then it's like, oh, well, we're not selling anymore.
You know, I might scalp a couple Nintendos this time because I mean it's the same fucking story year after year, and every time a Nintendo console comes out, I'm like, I should have fucking scalped two of these things and made a grand.
Yeah,
it's too late. They're already sold out. At least the pre-orders are.
Yeah.
Who knows how?
They're like. Yeah, they're not gonna have scarcity. That is bull fucking shit.
Yeah.
If on the day that I want to get a Nintendo Switch and I can't get it in a store, what does that sound like to you?
You know, they keep lying to people, and people keep buying their bullshit. That's like when they said the Wii U was going to exist right alongside the Switch, and I said he was lying, and he was. When I said Kimishima's dog whistling, and they're going to end production at the end of 2016, people were like, no, he said they're going to be a side-by-side. Yeah, what happened? And then what did they just announce? Zelda is the last game for Wii U. They're cutting it off. It's dead. They keep lying.
It's just like they're saying. I like how they're not directly lying when they talk about the 3DS, because they're like, "Are you going to stop supporting the 3DS?" And they're like, "No. The 3DS still has a long and vibrant life cycle left on it." And you're like, "But what happens after that? Is it just going to be the Switch?" And they're like, "The 3DS has a long and vibrant life cycle left on it." And you're like,
Yeah. Ask them what long and vibrant means. How long is long?
A year and a half.
3 months? 6 months?
Enough to pay for the production of the Nintendo Switch. That's how long it's gonna last.
Right. It's a buffer. It's a crutch at this point. It's not they don't consider it a system anymore. They are banking on the Switch entirely. Their whole focus has been on the Switch. They pull in the same scam. Reggie's full of shit. You know, like, oh, there's plenty. No, there's not. 2 million worldwide is not plenty. Not when PS4 was able to sell 1 million units in 24 hours when it launched, and they were able to keep up with demand. So don't give me this bullshit like, oh, you can't find it in pre-orders. You didn't make enough. You did the same thing you always do. And his excuse was, oh, it's March. This is not when consoles launch. That was your choice. It was your choice to launch in March and not November with everybody else, like a normal company. You decided to do this bullshit. So don't give me that manufacturing was hard for you. Xbox doesn't seem to have a problem. Neither does Apple. Neither does PlayStation. They have way more demand for their products than anyone has for your products.
Also, let me ask this. Let me get this straight. Manufacturing during the part of the year when manufacturing is generally slower because people are buying less things is harder for you? You mean you're not getting things at a cheaper rate because people aren't trying to mass produce all the fucking TVs they can for Black Friday anyway? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like,
right. Yeah. If you critically think about it, it's full of shit. Yeah, you could see through that immediately. But no one calls them out on it. Everybody just rubs their hands and goes, oh, God, I gotta have it.
Nintendo, oh, God. A bunch of fools, man. So think about it.
If the Nintendo Classic is any indication as to how this shit will be handled, that's just expect that shit. Oh, yeah. And you still can't really buy a Nintendo, one of those Nintendo minis, right?
No, you can't.
This makes me fucking sad because I actually have a place in my life for a system like a Nintendo Switch. So it infuriates me. I can't get my Vita to connect with my PlayStation through the internet. It's generally unreliable, and it is not a lag-free experience. The infrastructure of the internet keeps that from being the dream that is able to be realized. So like when I'm at work, I would love to be able to bring up the Switch and like set the little screen down and play a game or something like that. Like I actually have a place in my life for something that's not quite a handheld, because I find myself like most of the time when I sit down to play the Vita, I'm like, you know, I don't ride a train. I'm not a passenger in a car most of the time. I don't have a whole lot of time where I play the Vita, so I could stand for it to be a little bit bigger. I could stand for it to be able to be sat on a table and me kind of play with a small controller or a pro controller or something like that. So I am incredibly infuriated by the fact that Nintendo is dicking this up. Kind of like when somebody when they put out World War Z. Like, I'm not mad that you're putting this thing out. I'm mad that you're filling this niche with something shitty, so that now nobody's going to come along and put something good in its place. And that's the end of my rant.
Yeah, Nintendo's fucking bullshit. That's just the end of it. They're fucking.
I need a Joe Pesci thing. They fuck with you. They fuck with you.
Yeah, we gotta get you that sound, man. Because again, think about it. When the Switch comes out, right? Because let's say again, most real gamers are not gonna want to play with those Joy-Con bullshits. They can't get the fucking Pro controller. Ain't that a bitch? You're gonna be forced to play with those fucking things. You know, it sucks. Man.
I don't mind the Joy-Cons.
I mind the Joy-Cons, man.
Even on its side, like the little tiny controller, like I don't even mind that. Like, it's just a little tiny old school NES controller.
Nah, man, I don't like it. Not feeling the rainbow, man. I want the fucking Pro controller, man.
You want the Duke.
Yeah, man. Nintendo's. But going back to, we were talking about the whole 2 million thing, right? It's like, okay, to us it doesn't sound like a lot, right? But to investors, they're gonna be like, hey, we sold 2 million in 1 month. They're gonna be like, yeah, Nintendo, you fucking did it, and just like Chris said, why do you think they're releasing this shit in March at the end of the fiscal year? They want that boost. We can see right through Nintendo, but the fanboys don't. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, but they have to pull the wool over their shareholders. And they come into that meeting, okay, so at the end of the year, you've had a shitty year, but you had an explosion at the end. Shareholders are not stupid. They're going to wait for Q1 2017, and when they see that, and when your sales just drop off, that's when they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
So essentially, just sell off your stock one before that happens.
Oh, shit. Nintendo.
Well, no, I essentially wait for that to happen, buy stock, and wait for Nintendo to be acquired, then sell it.
Oh man, yeah, right. You never know, man. You never know, especially the way Nintendo's going.
No, I mean, the Switch. My whole infuriation with the Switch and like my rant just makes me sit there and think like, I have an iPad now. I'm not proud of it, but it's good for drawing, and I have an iPad. I'm pretty sure the iPad is just about as strong, maybe not stronger than the Switch. Like, there's no reason for them to just not have Bluetooth enabled peripherals. Like, I understand I can't slide a controller onto the side of an iPad or a Joy-Con on the side of an iPad, but like there should be no reason why I can't, Bluetooth connect a Nintendo Pro controller to an iPad and play Breath of the Wild on a fucking iPad. It's there's just not a good reason for it other than Nintendo is kind of locking it down. And then not doing a good job in the area that it locks down, which I mean, it's a weak tablet.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you saw the comparison with what is that, Dragon Quest is coming out on PS4.
Yeah, Dragon Quest.
See the comparison between PS4 and the Switch?
Wow, yeah, that was bad. Like they didn't have the particle effects and shit.
No particle effects. They can't even do smooth curves. Like, it's all janky. It looks like an Android game.
Yeah, it really does.
And the PS4, it looks completely different. So that's the beginning where you're going to see fidelity problems. And it's going to be up to Nintendo to prove, like, oh, yeah, it's capable. Everybody else is going to go, oh, it's a tablet. And you do this A, B, and C, and there you go. And it's going to look like a mobile game. Just get ready for the disappointment.
Yeah, well, hey, at least it won't look as bad as Life of Black Tiger, man.
I said it before and I'll say it again. If Nintendo could just wrap their head around admitting that this is a handheld plus as opposed to a console light, that they might be able to get some traction on this. If they really played up the whole idea of millennials are mobile, they're also poor and they live in small shitty apartments and they gather together. They all have a backpack. They all have smart media devices. Like, there is a good way to advertise this to millennials. There really is. Especially like if you put a real Pokemon game on this, which there have been rumors.
Yeah.
Not just a port, but its own kind of upgraded version. There's a niche for that. But as long, and Chris has said this time and time again, as long as you're trying to sell this thing as a console, you're kind of fucking doomed to failure.
Yeah, no, totally. We'll see.
And for some reason, through most likely nationalism and pride, like, you will not admit that this thing is a failure compared to its American counterpart or its Japanese counterpart. Like, that's the part I don't understand. Like, I understand you're never going to say that Xbox is womping you, but you could say, you know, you're not pulling the numbers that Sony is. You could.
They're not going to say that because they hate Sony. They never even want to acknowledge their existence.
Right. But see, that's the problem. Like, Nintendo thinks they're in this bubble. Like, they're in this delusion that they have the blue ocean, right? Which they don't. So they think they exist in this market that doesn't exist, where they are by themselves. They can do whatever they want. Now, that's nice wishful thinking, but that's not the reality. So what do you got coming out in March? Like Tony said, the floodgate of games has opened. You got Mass Effect coming out in March and a bunch of other games. You got a week before the Switch launches, Horizon drops, right?
Yeah, let me give you a quick rundown. So 3 days before Zelda comes out, you have Horizon Zero Dawn. 3 days after it comes out, Zelda, you got Nier Automata. 2 weeks after that, you got Mass Effect Andromeda. Come on, man. Like, yeah.
So people have to make decisions. So if you want to pull in console gamers right now, Xbox or PlayStation owners that might have been considering that, guess what? Like Brett just said, millennials don't have a lot of money. You have to make conscientious decisions. It's like, do I want Mass Effect, or am I going to blow ridiculous money on Switch accessories? I'll probably just get Mass Effect because it's cheaper than a Pro Controller, certainly cheaper than a Switch. And all that, I don't even have a game yet. So, yeah, guess what? They back out. They'll just stick with what they have and get Mass Effect, or get Nier Automata, get Horizon. Like, there's a bunch of games coming out that can satisfy current console owners. So really, all you're going to have, you watch. This is my prediction. Watch after this pre-order thing. The sales are going to drop off dramatically by 50 to 60%.
Whoa.
Month over month, until there's like nothing happening by May. The Switch is just going to trickle out. Like, they're going to sell nothing, right? Because they have nothing to offer by then.
You're right. That's a bold prediction, but I could totally see it, bro.
I will back that up. I will agree with that prediction, and I'll go one further.
Uh-oh.
That's about the time that Nintendo is going to realize that the lake is drying up, and they're gonna attempt to force 3DS users to convert in order to up the user.
Right? Yeah, they're gonna do shitty tactics, and they'll whatever they could. I don't know if they can reach out and do anything pretty like sort of malicious to 3DS owners, like shut off Street Pass or whatever. I'm not sure. Maybe they could with a firmware update or whatever.
Well, I mean, they could announce. That's when they could finally admit that they're like, well, the new handheld isn't. We're not going to come out with the new 3DS. We've just integrated it all into one platform. So we're not going to be supporting a 3DS after this generation of games. In fact, you can look forward to all these 3DS games that you were going to see now on the Switch, just the same way they did with fucking the Wii U. Like they'll take those prize carrot games and they'll bring them over to the Switch while announcing that they're not going to be supporting the Switch after this series of games. So they'll kind of make it a soft transition and give you a little bit of notice, but they'll also take the shine off the apple, and all the fanboys who want to stay, you know, on the crest of that wave are going to be like, well, fuck it. I mean, I guess it's time to buy a Switch. At least that's my prediction. They're going to try and find a way to move that user base over.
Man, that would be fucked up, but I could see it happening.
Dude, they already do it with every fucking subsequent generation of Game Boy. They have you buy a new Game Boy like every 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, the game. I love how you keep calling them Game Boys.
It is a Game
Boy. Oh man! All right, so there you go. I don't really have any post-show shit. So let's just wrap this up. So thank you for watching and listening. Make sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com. Also help support the site by donating to the Patreon page. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco. And channel joined by Emilio Lopez.
I'll see you later, guys.
Chris Seeley. Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Go watch Kuroko no Basket.
Brett Murdock.
I can mute mime if I want. I'll catch y'all later, party people.
Brian Munjoma.
It's still not a combat system.
This motherfucker, man.
Oh my!
He was at talk shit. And Adam Vale.
This Sunday, Royal Rumble. Watch it. Gotta watch. It's gonna be.
Oh, and quickly, I want to
Watch
give
the Undertaker. Go ahead.
He's gonna be in it. Undertaker's gonna be in it. Goldberg's gonna be in it.
Undertaker. Quickly, I want to give a happy birthday to Richard Bailey Jr. So he's years old.
and there's also happy belated birthday to Mr. Brett Murdock.
Yes,
46.
man.
Congratulations.
46. You know,
That's what it said on his Craigslist profile. So.
All right, people. We'll see you next time. Later.
Peace.
Laters.
Rub a dirty nipple.